Well, the celebrated Russian filmmaker Andrei Zvyagintsev took out the jury prize in Cannes last year for Loveless. It is a most beautifully crafted film about the disappearance of a child. He's Alyosha, Matvey Novikov, the son of Zhenya, Mariana Spivak, and Boris, Alexei Rosin, who have a toxic relationship, are on the brink of divorce and selling their apartment. But what to do about Alyosha? Neither parent wants him. Zhenya because she's found another partner in wealthy businessman Anton, Andris Kish. And so has Boris in his heavily pregnant girlfriend Masha, Marina Vasilyeva.
Разве не ты опять дуру молодую обрюхатил и тащишь ее в свой ад?
Слава Богу, встретила хорошего человека, которому ничего от меня не нужно, кроме меня самого.
И когда мы ему об этом скажем?
Уёбывай уже отсюда! Что ты здесь трешься? Ведь все уже, все!
Да я такое же право имею, как ты!
Да имеешь, свое так и так получишь!
While carousing and intercoursing with their various partners, Zhenya and Boris are not even aware that Alyosha hasn't been to school for 2 days until contacted by his teacher. The police do not have the resources to mount a search, but recommend going to an organisation of volunteers led by the rather authoritarian Ivan, Alexei Fatev. In the course of the film, Zhenya reveals to Anton that she never loved Boris, never loved her son, was never loved by her mother, and he remarks that no one should go through life in a state of lovelessness. A visit to Zhenya's mother to see if Alyosha has gone to her is revealing. But there are other revealing moments in the film. Boris's firm is highly Christian. You can only work there if you've been baptised, and he's worried about them finding out about his divorce. We hear reports on the radio about corruption and television reports about the war in Ukraine, very much from the Russian point of view. Zhenya is never off her mobile phone. Technology separates. This austere, masterful film shows the absolute control Zvyagintsev has over his art. It's so beautiful to look at. Even when shooting in dim lighting, you're never shut out of what's going on. Cinematographer Mikhail Krichman, who'd worked with the director on 2 previous films, The Return and Leviathan, shows marvellous artistry with his images, and the soundtrack is sublime. Graham, I hope you love this film.
I love this film. It's absolutely extraordinary, this film, on so many levels. You're right about the camera work, the austerity of it, but it is absolutely beautifully filmed, mainly in wide shots, with pretty full-on, straight at the performances. There's very little intercutting. In fact, I don't think he ever intercuts. There's no reverse angles or even close-ups.
No,
the close-ups happen inside the camera itself. They come up to the lens, and that's really fascinating. And then that's intercut with half a dozen extraordinary tracking shots where the camera glides through, following the protagonist at different points, just keeps going and going and going. And you wonder, will this ever stop? Then suddenly you're back to the austerity of the big shots that just move ever. So it's absolutely fascinating to watch. And those angles reveal things. At the very start, the boy is wandering through the forest on his own, and he picks up a piece of, and this is pretty sort of symbolic, a piece of crime scene tape.
Yeah.
And he plays with it in the forest, and that gives us a sense of foreboding. And the camera just halts every now and again, and it just stops and looks at little burrows and little hollows, and you get this terrible sense of foreboding and gloom and doom, and it's just beautifully, superbly done.
But those scenes at the very beginning of the film, and it's this beautiful landscape, snow-baked landscape along a river in a forest, and it's just like he holds those shots and then another one, and it's sort of like I'm entranced right at the beginning of this film, and I think it's a really sad experience. It's very austere in many ways.
Everyone's loveless in this film. There's no love anywhere to be seen in Russia at this point. It's several years ago, a decade or so ago, but it is just a loveless world. And it's so. At one point, there's a fabulous sequence where she's on the towards the end of the film. She's on a running machine. It's snowing. She's outside, and she's wearing Mother Russia, the tracksuit of the Russian Olympic team. And she's just running sort of blindly into the snow.
And he's sitting inside watching television.
It's an extraordinary sequence.
Alienation. I love this filmmaker. I fell in love with him with the first film of his I saw, The Return, which is also austere but absolutely stunningly beautiful. I'm giving this 4.5 stars.
I'm giving it 4.5 stars. This with The Party is the best film I've seen so far this year, easily.